changing the way we think and how we live our lives is one step in the right direction. Welcome to Be Well Berkshires. I am your host, Jim Willis. I am the administrator of the Be Well Berkshires Community Initiative. Be Well Berkshires is a mass emotion initiative that is designed to promote policies and programs to foster healthier lifestyles. What does that mean? Well, it means that we want you to eat better, move more, and be well. The format of this show is to speak with community members on what's going on in our community regarding health and wellness activities and to bring that information to you. I want to welcome our guest today, Diane Marcella, president of Tyler Street Business Group. Did I get that right?
You did.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jim.
You know, there's a lot going on. We were talking before the show started about you have the Discover Tyler Street going on. We have the newly revamped walking loop, which I'll get into a little bit later because Be Well Berkshires played a part in that.
Yes.
But the first thing I want to say is I want to thank you for offering a letter of support. So we were able to get more years of mass emotion funding, which actually helps support Be Well Berkshires.
Yes.
So I really appreciate that. And we've been working in unison for the past 3 or 4 years with Discover Tyler Street and the Healthy Dining Restaurant. So I want to say publicly thank you for your ongoing support to Be Well Berkshires and what we do and in supporting by coming on the show today. And so tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization.
Yeah, well, let me also say, you know, we're very thankful for your program. And Berkshire Health Systems has been fantastic to the community, and they've supported our Tyler Street Business Group initiative, so I'm very happy with that. And your program, I worked with Karen Rowe with the walking loop, which was awesome, and that's going very well so far. Of course, it's in the beginning stages, and it's not totally, it's phase one. Phase one is done, so as they say, baby steps. So it's getting there though, which is exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's Tyler Street Business Group for those that don't know?
Well, I'm trying to think of how, you know, we apply this to Be Well Berkshires, and I think that I listen to your show and I see the you know, a lot of people are talking about the physical being well, but I think that what we do as a community group is more the mental.
Right,
It's the stress. And we come through the businesses, and you know, so we deal with, you know, be well in a sense of the way you live your life and the way that, you know, your business is going. And what we try to offer to our businesses is more of community get together. We're all going through the same thing. We're all dealing with the same economy and that. So we try to offer more of community getting together. We get speakers, we have network nights, we have open forum meetings, and our Discover Tyler Street is kind of a let's all get together, let's use our resources, let's communicate with the neighbors and the residents and the other businesses here, however we can get to make people feel comfortable. Because our feeling is that by uniting people, amazing things can happen. And I think the Berkshires in particular, because we have a great community and we have so many great people here that do so much, that if we can pull those people together, that's my personal feeling too, is that we can just do so much.
Yeah, and I've said several times that small businesses, I mean all businesses, but in particular small businesses are the backbone of our local economy, and I think the dynamics have shifted over the years with, you know, people going online, whether it's Amazon and all these other places. It's really hurt some of the smaller businesses. We're always, you know, trying to promote the local farmers markets, and I think it's the same philosophy when it comes to the businesses. And, you know, this is our community. We need to restore our community trust in one another, support local businesses, and I really commend you and your organization because it's all volunteers, right?
It is.
It's all volunteers, and
is.
the work that you do, I think it's noticed and it's noticeable, and we're starting to see changes. And how many businesses is in that sector that you represent? Good
question. When we started out, I think a little history I have to explain by that question. When we started out, we were in the original Morningside Initiative plans, as we were designed to be a subcommittee of the Morningside Initiative.
Okay.
And in other words, there's so much to encompass when you have a whole community that you need to take some things and section them off. And one big obvious section was the business group, you know, the businesses on Tyler Street. but there are also many businesses all throughout Morningside. So we started out focusing in on the Tyler Street businesses, and we easily have 60 to 75 businesses, depending on how you want to look at it, physically there or working through offices. But in the whole Morningside, which we just started this year, we said, okay, you know what, we're organized. This year we became an official nonprofit, and we're actually our own entity now. We're not actually a subcommittee anymore of the Morningside Initiative. So we have our business plan, and we sat down and had our talks and our bylaws, all those that fun stuff and all the paperwork. And what we thought was, through what we have already accomplished in our main grassroots, and we have a really good group now, is that we should really start reaching out to all of Morningside and start integrating all the businesses. And our idea is that by making businesses healthy in the community, that the whole community is going to be better off. Because of that, it'll be like a fallout in a sense, that the residents will do better because the community's doing better, and if we can just all, we have to start somewhere, so that's where we start, is with the businesses.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we all have to have each other's back. I mean, we see in the paper all the time some of the negative things that are going on in our communities, and people know each other in their communities. They know who's doing the good things, they know who's doing the negative things, and people need to work together, whether it's a crime issue or just promoting economic development, trying to get jobs. I mean, that's the $1 million question. How do we increase economic development? And and I think the work that you do. I've been to you did the Halloween parade. Is that?
Well, Becky Teft actually does the Halloween parade through the city. And of course, this is in its 70th year, or 71st, I think,
Really?
we're this year.
Wow.
Yeah, it goes back many, many years. So we're very fortunate, and we're very excited, because this will be our 4th time it's been on Tyler Street.
Okay.
But that happened again, several years ago. A lot of this was our, I got to give credit to our city councilors, because they've been phenomenal over the years. And it was always Christiane's plan back. She envisioned the Halloween parade coming down our little street of Tyler Street, make it a cozy, community type thing. And she did, when she was our city councilor, she did bring it down. And Pete White, again, those two were basically the city councilors at the time that got together and said, hey, let's get this Tyler Street Business Group going. So I give them a lot of credit. And now Kevin Morandi and Lisa Tully are working with us. So it's important to be able to work with your city councilors and have a good relationship with them, and they really help us out. I have to say, one thing you learn when you're in the city like this and you're a community organization, right? As much as you don't want to be political, and we're not, as a nonprofit, we can't be political, but you have to, the only way of getting things done is knowing the people and them understanding what you're going for, and wanting the same things, and making things happen. So you really do need those people, and you have to create relationships and understanding.
Absolutely, and that's why they're elected.
That's
More power to them, right?
Right,
and they have to represent their ward, and even that the at-large councilors have a responsibility as well. And
Right.
Yeah, I think you guys have come a long way, and I remember we were at a subcommittee meeting, I think a few months ago, talking about better lighting for Tyler Street. I think we'll touch base on the walkability study that we helped Tyler Street, your sector, work on. And lighting is an important thing. Many don't think, people don't think about lighting and streetlights as, okay, well, it's a street light. What's the significant importance for that? It reduces crime. It promotes people to walk. It promotes people to exercise. And I know your group is working on trying to get better lighting. Any updates on that?
Well, I believe since the meeting that you're talking about, it actually went quite well. It went to subcommittee after that, went back to the city councilor, and we received a unanimous agreement that we needed lighting, and like everything else, it has to go through its steps. So right now we're looking at a Fuss and O'Neill study.
Nice.
So they have to study and say, okay, what is there, what should there be, and how can we accomplish that? And I would imagine in their study they give you ways to do that. So then that would be our next, because in other words, even though that we have a unanimous decision, there's nothing there to say this is it. This will. So
Right.
we have to have that. We have to have that report and determine what is it that we exactly need to do to make the better lighting on.
Yeah, we need better lighting in that area, which, you know, would help businesses stay open longer. It would get people to walk, you know, increase the traffic in that area. And, you know, we always talk about downtown Pittsfield. Everything we talk about is downtown Pittsfield. And yes, it's a core section of the city, but we need to invest and really enhance all sectors in the city, even the west side. It's just,
Absolutely.
you know, businesses, they struggle. It's challenging. We recognize that, and you know, and so one of the things that Well Berkshires helped Healthy Pittsfield. It was really a synergy project where we did this walkability study with Karen and your group and Healthy Pittsfield, and we did a full assessment, which was the precursor to where the walking loop is now, even though it's phase 1. And so that was a really good accomplishment. We were able to inventory, you know, the condition of the sidewalks. We talked about lighting, and hopefully once that report becomes finalized, we'll be able to really, you'll have access to that and really push and advocate for better resources to be invested into the Morningside area. So.
Right, that's part of it. That's
yeah,
all part of it.
absolutely,
Is
yeah.
that they have it on paper now, and you wouldn't, you don't, before doing something like the walking loop, you don't realize all that goes to actually having the loop and actually having, I mean, the signs going up, that's the very last part of it.
Right.
I mean, like you say, the regional planning, and actually we walked it several times, but not just walking it and looking around. You have your charts and you're making all these notes and
Yeah.
every little thing, but you know, it all has its purpose.
Yeah.
And they know now if there's little areas that need attention, and that's the idea. And the phase 1 to ours is basically because if you picture it as a big rectangle, phase 2 encompasses the bridge that'll bring us from East Street back to Woodlawn.
Okay, yeah.
And of course the bridge isn't there, so we can't have phase 2, right? Because truthfully, with Pittsfield and so many good people that are in it, I do believe we could have done phase 1 and phase 2 this year, but physically it's not possible. So.
What's the timeline on the bridge? Do we have a sense on that?
Yes, a sense.
Is that a loaded?
Well, hopefully, it was my last update from Corey Thurston of PETA is that they were going to begin in September, and it was projected to be done the end of 2015.
Okay, well, that's
Not
something.
a lot of noise going on yet, Jim,
Yeah,
but we're
yeah.
hopeful.
Well,
so.
I see the signs.
Yes.
You know, I live in Pittsfield. We commute all over the place, and the signs are up. And that's exciting, and hopefully we're seeing more foot traffic, more people doing the loop, and you know, hopefully we'll be able to promote that better, and maybe we can do like a 5K race or something, and
Yeah.
maybe we can compete with the downtown loop or something like that. And
Yeah, and the idea is really to connect them all.
yeah,
We have what we're calling the little strip, you know, from where Tyler Street intersects with North Street. You know, there's that little hill with the little lights up at the
Right,
top. We're
right.
kind of calling that the connector.
Okay.
Because that's a corner of Tyler and First, which is our phase 1. And then, you know, there's just this little strip there which would connect to the walking loop on North Street. So.
Yeah. I think some other ways to tie into the walking loop is, you know, looking at our healthy dining restaurants, and I know we have about 35 restaurants in the 5-town district now, but trying to promote all our businesses, but more importantly, if we get people to walk, maybe people can go to a restaurant that is a healthy dining restaurant and really promote both ends of that. And I think that's work that we still need to do and stuff, and there's ways of promoting that, but the most important thing is really we have a walking loop now, which is wonderful. We have good signs, people can read them, they can understand them, and really then now we need to get the community members out there to actually start walking.
Right.
So, and I know other work that you do is you have the Discover Tyler Street event that you do once a year?
Yes, we do it once a year, and we just had it in August. And this year we changed it up a bit, and I believe that we'll continue the same thing next year. Is that we used to have it on a Saturday every year, and we even experimented with different months out of the year, and now we decided we're going to switch it to during the week, and through just what's going on during the week and good days. Now I understand why they came up with Thursdays, because Thursday seems to be the day with what's going on and what makes it most feasible for someone to hop into, the schedule. So, we thought, well, Thursdays do work for North Street, and when we did our planning, we said, Thursday seems to be the night that works. So we picked the fourth Thursday in August. We may just keep it there because we really felt, and then we moved it instead of doing all of Tyler Street, which these were discussions that went, several times. We can't close off all of Tyler Street like they can do North Street. And I think that's big in making and accomplishing a lot, because it gives it a different fair type atmosphere and a different, even being able to talk to one another, and that when you have the whole Tyler Street, one, it's very long, and then you have people on either side, and then there are businesses that are clumped in a sense. So we had kind of, if you can imagine, beginning, middle, and end clumps. So we had our entertainment spaced out, our music spaced out. It was logistically hard to put on, but we tried it. For the first 4 years, that's how it was. And then this year, which kind of goes along with our whole organization and reaching out to all of Morningside, I think bringing it to the PETA site where we could close off Woodlawn Avenue. That was no problem. We've done it for the Halloween parade and the parking and everything else, right? So that was no question. And then we have this great big parking lot there, and it's right there, right where everybody is right close to by. So any business in Morningside can come in and participate, and put a little table up, let people know you're there, and I'm very happy with the turnout this year.
That was my follow-up question. Did you see a difference between the last 3 years and then this year?
Yeah, and it's exciting because, and even at that, I mean, just we had the sheriff horses, and I don't even know how, if people are aware that we actually have these two beautiful horses that are trained horses and everything like. They came and they went through. I mean, it was just so much fun, because when it's spaced out on the street, you don't always get that. Not everybody sees everything that's going on. Not every, but being in this one little space, everybody fit, everybody had a great time. You could see everything that was happening. We had many health organizations there, which was fantastic, and we had activities all together like it should be.
Exactly.
So I was very excited. Our board was very excited. We really did discuss it since, and we feel that we're going to do that.
So speaking of the Tyler Street Business Group, how's that made up? I know you talked about volunteers, but I'm sure you have a board of directors or something to that degree. Talk to us about that. How often do you meet?
Okay.
And obviously, if people want more information about your group, let's talk about that as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's we formed our actual nonprofit in January of this year. Okay, so. With all the bylaws and your organization, you have to form a board made up of so many members. So we have a 12-member board, but we can also, I can, as president, have extra board members with specific things to help the group. So Michael Ortega is that particular, board member. He's on ours as a I can't think of the exact thing. It's like additional board member.
Like subcommittees or something like that, or?
Well, the actual board members, our president, our vice president, our treasurer. So we have 12 of those. I can actually elect up to 6 other specialties if I want to.
Okay.
Okay. So Michael, of course, has been. We started out. We used to meet once a month, every Tuesday, at 5:30 at PETA. and those were open discussions. When we organized, we said, well, we would really like to, we had been talked many times about having speakers. They have to do with business. I could tell you, they are actually the reason we've done a lot that we've done. We've talked to some speakers. That's why we ended up changing up Discover Tyler Street. They've really sent us in some great directions. We had some super speakers and with a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience in Pittsfield. So speaker night, that's once a quarter. And then once a quarter we have a network night. And that's hosted by a business in our Morningside. And then we also still keep our once a quarter open forum, where you can open discussions at PETA. So what we thought was not everybody is comfortable coming to a structure with agenda set and this kind of thing. So let's open it up to a speaker night where we socialize a little bit in the beginning, listen to some great ideas, and then you can socialize a little bit afterwards. And then the network night is all kind of socialization, that's a tough one, socialization, but and you can come in and out. Like if you can't make it at 5:30, well, come at 6 o'clock, come at 6:30 if you can only stay a half an hour. So we thought by making it more relaxed for people to come and go, and it's been turning out great, really. We're very excited. So.
Nice. So do you have any like scheduled priorities over the next year or two that the group is looking into? I mean, you seem like you have a lot going on.
We do. We actually have our business plan, and keep it in mind, it is our first year. And even just the Discover Tyler Street takes us 3 months prior of everybody working on it in order to get, if you can imagine, because we're all, most of our, our board members, if they don't own their own business, they're running a business, or, they're so involved. So this is, like I say, a volunteer. So our board meets once a month in addition to the other meetings. So our board members actually have 2 meetings that they go to per month, and planning and then doing all your other stuff in between. So it gets time consuming, and we all try to do what we can.
Well, it's quite impressive, though. I mean, when you have now, even though you're organized now, but you still are made up with volunteers, and I think that's a good reflection not only for you and your group, but in the Morningside and as a city, as a whole of the city. So, I know we're constantly trying to get better, and part of Well Berkshires is trying to work with Healthy Pittsfield, and Healthy Pittsfield has come a long way as well. I remember when that was downtown Pittsfield sort of got Healthy Pittsfield started, and Well Berkshires was helping to support that. It seems like Gina and the health department, and they've come a long way with Healthy Pittsfield. And so how's that going? Are they doing other things with Tyler Street in regard to outside of the walking loop, and how's that going?
Well, we are a member of Healthy Pittsfield. We really we're how would I put this? Their meetings, unfortunately, come on Fridays that normally I have set meetings of my own in business that I can't make their exact meetings. So I stay in touch with reading the notes and getting Gina, and I think this goes to along with what I think people that are coming in now are feeling is that all these organizations that we have, they're starting to say, let's combine all this stuff.
Right.
Not necessarily, I don't think that it's necessarily that we want to make 2 groups one.
Right.
What we want to do is say, we have super groups, really, and organizations, and so many great people that I have the pleasure truly of meeting, and I wouldn't meet them if I wasn't doing the Tyler Street Business Group. So I have to advocate for the people that I've met. They're just I love it, and I think that's a big bonus in Pittsfield in particular, is that we do have such great people, and if we can just take, say, I've talked with Katie McGuire about this, one person from each one of these groups, because each one of these groups is doing a great job for that, and you can't expect to bring 10 in and they're going to do just as good of a job individually as the groups can. So I don't think the idea is to smush all the groups into one, but to take the ideas, or one person from each one of these groups, and have a once a quarter meeting, you know what I'm saying, and get these minds to a table, because once you get these minds around a table, it's just
Right.
like Tyler Street Business Group. I say, you know, if I have a question, you know, I can't quite answer it myself, I bring it out to my board, and you have 13 people sitting around the table that have these great ideas, and I just can't believe that by the end of our meeting, they've answered the question and you come up with 3 or 4 different ways of doing things. It's great. So I think
Yeah.
that's what we need to do in Pittsfield. Do you think that?
I actually agree with that.
Yeah.
I think, you know, in a sense, there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of great things. I mean, depending on what organization's doing what, they may have grant funding, they may have limitations on, you know, the resources that they have. But I think that is a good thing to look at, and something that Be Well Berkshires works on is, you know, we have a coordinator, Karen, and she tries to go to all these meetings, and we have our leadership committee, and part of what we try to do is help facilitate what's already going on in the community, and not to reinvent the wheel to make it more difficult, more challenging to get things done. And I think that's a great idea, you know. And it sort of reminds me of the, you know, with the chamber and the Berkshires visitor, you had the One Berkshire things, like everyone's doing all this great work, and you know, it's, rather than duplicate efforts, try to identify the gaps and try to fill those gaps and get everyone on the same page. But
Yeah.
I think you might be onto something.
And collaborate. I'll
Collaborate.
collaborate, because we have some great minds there.
Absolutely.
Another project that you may have heard of, but we hadn't talked about yet, is our greenhouse project, and that's right along the lines of Be Well Berkshires. Now that's the physical. Now getting away from the mental, the de-stressing and the better life living. If you want to talk about, you know, local food economy,
Right.
and growing, you know, our own vegetables and that's.
We may have to save that for the next show,
Yes.
because we're almost out of
Okay.
time. And I want to make sure I have enough time that you give the viewers your contact information.
Oh,
How can
okay.
people get a hold of you and Tyler Street Business Group?
Okay, well, TylerStreetPittsfield.com. Can always go on that and get information. Marcella Building and Renovation, of course, that's our business. They're right in the book, very simple to look up. We have our Shop Morningside directory. Discover Tyler Street is our Facebook. We're out there.
Well, Diane, thanks for joining the show, and I want to thank all the viewers for tuning in to Be Well Berkshires. I'm your host, Jim Willis. Thank you, and be well.